Have you ever looked at your life and realized nothing is technically wrong, but somehow something feels missing? You wake up, you go to work, you pay the bills, you handle responsibilities. Maybe you even have a family, and yet, late at night, when the noise disappears, there's this strange emptiness you can't explain. Most men never talk about this feeling because from the outside, life looks fine. But inside, many men over 40 quietly feel disconnected from themselves. And the worst part is, they often don't even know why. What if I told you this emptiness isn't random? What if there's a reason so many men suddenly feel emotionally numb after 40? Even after spending decades chasing success, stability, and responsibility, because life teaches men something painful at this age, something nobody warns them about when they're younger. And once you finally understand it, you start seeing your entire life differently. The first thing life teaches men after 40 is that achievement and fulfillment are not the same thing. When men are young, they believe happiness lives somewhere in the future. Once I make enough money, once I get married, once I buy the house, once I become successful. But many men reach those milestones and still feel empty. Why? Because they spent years building a life without building themselves. And nobody notices this at first, because society rewards productive men, not emotionally healthy men. So men learn how to survive, how to perform, how to provide, but not how to understand themselves. And eventually, they wake up one day realizing they've become strangers to their own emotions. That realization hits hard, especially at night, especially during silence, especially when distractions stop working. And this leads to the second painful lesson life teaches men after 40. Most men lose themselves slowly, not suddenly. It doesn't happen in one dramatic moment. It happens quietly, through years of routine, years of stress, years of sacrificing personal dreams, years of saying, I'll deal with myself later, until later becomes decades. Many men stop doing things they once loved. They stop laughing like they used to. They stop feeling excitement, not because they're weak, but because survival mode slowly replaced curiosity, and survival mode is emotionally exhausting. But here's where things become dangerous. A lot of men think this emptiness means life is over. It's not. In fact, for many men, this feeling is actually the beginning of awakening. Because life after 40 forces men to confront something they've avoided for years. Who are you when you're no longer chasing validation? That question changes everything. Because many men spent their entire lives trying to become valuable to everyone else, without asking whether they still feel alive inside. And eventually, success without inner peace becomes unbearable. This is why some men suddenly change after 40. Some leave toxic environments. Some reconnect with old passions. Some finally start speaking honestly. Some disappear for a while to rebuild themselves. And some completely reinvent their lives, not because they're having a crisis, but because they finally realize they were emotionally asleep. And life teaches another brutal lesson at this age. Time feels different after 40. When you're younger, life feels endless. After 40, you suddenly understand that time is limited. And that realization creates pressure. Pressure to become who you truly are before it's too late. That's why many men start questioning everything at this age. Their friendships, their careers, their marriages, their purpose. Not because they want chaos, but because deep down, they want truth. and truth becomes more important than appearances. But here's the part nobody talks about. The emptiness many men feel is often created by emotional isolation. Men slowly stop opening up. They stop building deep friendships. They stop expressing vulnerability. And over time, they carry the entire weight of life alone, silently. And humans were never built for silent, emotional isolation. No amount of money can fully replace connection. No success can completely replace meaning. And no distraction can permanently silence emptiness. Eventually, life forces men to face themselves. But here's the good news. This emptiness does not have to destroy you. It can rebuild you. Because once a man becomes aware of what's missing, he can finally begin changing his life intentionally. He can reconnect with purpose, reconnect with people, reconnect with himself. And sometimes, the solution isn't becoming someone new. Sometimes the solution is returning to who you were before life buried that version of you, before stress, before pressure, before survival mode took over. So if you've been feeling empty lately, maybe life isn't ending. Maybe life is trying to wake you up. And maybe this feeling isn't proof that something is wrong with you. Maybe it's proof that deep down, you still know there's more to life than simply surviving. And that realization might be the beginning of everything changing.